The WWE makes a big announcement regarding the NXT brand on their first episode of the CW, and we're here to break it down and more on the Heel the Ring podcast. Let's go.
Acknowledge me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. The host, BX Sports Jedi Kev. Yes, the CW network era is about to kick off for the WWE NXT, and Shawn Michaels made a big announcement today, this afternoon, just off the press announcement saying that the CW network era will be kicking off October 1st. We have dates of where and how and who will be at that show. The announcement comes October 1st, Allstate Arena in Chicago. Special appearance or special guest host, none other than CM Punk, will be headlining the first episode October 1st at the CW. Not only that, they gave us even more. Second episode of the CW NXT brand will be in St. Louis, Missouri, and the Viper, the Apex Predator, Mr. Randy Orton, possibly being the special host of that. Well, what's your thoughts? Look, I live in Orlando, Florida. I've gone plenty of times. Terrence from our channel, from the Heel the Ring podcast, goes each and every Tuesday night to the Performance Center. Probably on his way now to the Performance Center for Great American Bash Night 2. Bittersweet moment. Personally, for personal reasons, it's kind of because we won't be able to get to see the NXT talent, but we had a lot of time to gather in watch a lot of wrestling. I don't think it's the end of the WWE televising from the Performance Center. Maybe they're just doing a revamp or makeover of the studio of the Performance Center, since they're going on the CW, to make it look different. Give me a different aesthetic. When they go to the CW, maybe they're going to remodel, revamp, and reconstruct the Performance Center for the CW network. So it doesn't mean that it's not doom and gloom that they announced two shows or two current live away from Orlando, Florida. That's excellent. That's actually going to excite some of the kids in the NXT brand. It's traveling. Now they feel like a third brand. Shawn Michaels said, he's been hinting that they're going to do things different. This is going to be, he feels like, has to see something. He wants to show something to see. More eyeballs possibly on the CW network, at least in the United States. Also, CW has an app that I'm pretty sure, just like the NWA, you could watch the NXT brand on there. For the CW, you're going to see in more homes across the United States. Even if you have an over-the-air antenna with the rabbit ears, I don't know who still has that, but there's still folks that have the over-the-air completely cut the cord and they just get their local channels. Guess what? Their NXT now is going to be on every local CW platform on Tuesday nights. So that's a great big plus for NXT, my opinion. Again, it's bittersweet. Let's see Shawn Michaels and company. They had the video. It's circulating all over Twitter. I'll play the video right now. That's the video going on there for NXT. You see everyone there pumped. I'm not going to put no sound. I'm just going to show you the video of telling you about the new home, the CW. Of course, all their young talented feature. Now with TNA in the mix, we're going to see a Joe Hendry. Now the world is going to see, or at least the United States audience is going to see more of Joe Hendry. Plus the TNA, the Rascals, and many other more as we see that there when the CW network. We're going to see more of the TNA collaboration. Could we possibly see, like we mentioned just a few seconds ago, the NWA, Billy Corgan and group? They're part of that network. Maybe CW wants them to work together to help the NWA with more eyeballs. At the end of the day, more eyeballs, more viewership to the CW product or the CW app. If the NXT brand with TNA and people are watching on a Tuesday nights and they're watching the NXT brand, and maybe you sprinkle in an NWA where they say, yes, we have an NWA and it's only on the CW app. Watch the NWA. Maybe you pique the interest on the National Wrestling Alliance, which has rich traditional history. And if folks, remember, they still, maybe they spoke generation, this is, older generation like myself, or say, damn, they're still around. And then with, younger kids are watching NXT, they mention NWA. Now, guess what? The older wrestling fans that are being a little bit disconnected will want to watch the NWA, say, what's going on there? Let me take a look at that. It's on the app. They'll put the app, NWA starts. You sprinkle a little NXT. The way that the WWE has been doing, having NXT talent on TNA. We saw that this past weekend in Tampa for the recordings for TNA Impact Zone. We saw Riley Osborne and many others at the TNA brand collaborating wrestling. One of the tonight, we're gonna have Joe Henry taking on Joe Coffey. That's gonna be a one-on-one matchup. So I like the collaboration. I like the work that these two companies are doing together. And maybe the NWA it becomes a participant in the NXT on the CW. Only time will tell. Right now, and the WWE NXT TNA relationship is cooking. I mean, in great ways and more ways than one, benefiting everyone from a Joe Henry to the Rascals, and of course NXT, because more folks want to watch these guys or these ladies like Jordan Grace. I have to see a little more Jordan Grace on the NXT brand. I need to see, I would love to see another match with Roxanne and Jordan Grace. We all know the big three that are heading into the WWE when it comes to the women's division: Delta, Julia, Stephanie Vilcour, who was here. We've been teasing Jose the assistant, been teasing about signing with the WWE. We've seen him in All Elite Wrestling. Now what comes out with news are the Lucha Brothers, Penta and Rey Fenix, internally not renewing or leaving the company of All Elite Wrestling. Where they'll go, everyone's saying pushing, or the arrow pushes us towards the NXT WWE brand for the Lucha Brothers. Only time will tell. They're still on the contract. I know their contract is set to expire, but they're not going to be written in any more storylines. They're just going to let the contract fade away and expire. And maybe on that CW. Listen, October 8th is a big date for NXT brand. Why is that? On October 8th, their baseball, MLB baseball has their playoffs. They will have, especially on the 9th, they will push All Elite Wrestling to Tuesday, and Dynamite will be head-to-head, faced head-to-head on channel for different channel with the NXT brand. And that's going to be interesting because the NXT will be on the CW new network, but more broader breach, where you don't have to pay. It'll be interesting to see the numbers there. Remember last year, I had the privilege of being at the NXT Mania. I call it NXT Mania with John Cena, Undertaker, LA Knight, Asuka. It was a hell of a show. It was there personally that went head to head and actually had better numbers than Dynamite. But again, we'll see what happens this year, especially on the road. My one concern is I hope they sell out those two arenas. I know you have their prodigal sons featured, and I have the banner on there. So I have the banner, what it looks like. Here it is. And they already have it ready to go. October 1st, 8th, you got CM Punk. You have Trick Williams, Ethan Page, your NXT World Champion, Roxanne, your current female World Champion, and Randy Orton. So they are putting out all the stops. They want to sell tickets. You put their prodigal son of those cities there as their host, and people will come out. Let's hope that they fill out those arena, and it makes it exciting and for the CW network going forward. It might be a minor test run if they're going to have NXT have a weekly show the way Raw and SmackDown travels around the country. That's going to be a lot of production for the writers and the coaches in NXT. But if anyone could do it, is the machine of the WWE. So we'll see what happens. And if you have tag teams like, Penta and Rey Fenix in NXT brand, there's rumors of the Motor City Machine Guns with the WWE, where they show up on the NXT brand or on the main roster. Nevertheless, there's still a lot of tag teams. They're strengthening the tag teams in the NXT brand right now. You of course, you still have, OTM and Ofe and Malik Blade up and coming. You have Hank and Tank. You have many others tag teams there, Nathan and Axiom, of course, with the Rascals or MSK, whichever way you want to call them. Maybe they tease an Ace of Bay, Austin Bay, and Austin, coming over, participating in the NXT brand. The Hardy Boys, just think of that on a CW in St. Louis. Episode 2, Hardy Boys show up and issue a challenge to the tag team champions, whoever it is at that time. We're on the CW network. what talk about getting eyeballs to the product on a Tuesday night up against All Elite Wrestling when you have the Hardy Boys answer the bell, or it answers the bell on Chicago, setting up the match for the following week in St. Louis. I mean, talk about all those possibilities of eyeballs, eye catching. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what's your thought? Is it a good thing that NXT is going on the road for the least for the foreseeable future, the first two episodes of the live show? Give your thoughts in the comments. I think it's a good home run. I personally said I wouldn't mind them doing, out of the 4 Tuesdays a month after a premium live event, 3 out of 4, or on in the PC Center and one away from on the road. But again, I'll ask you guys on that. This is the Heel Doing Podcast. We will be doing the watch along tonight for NXT North American Bash. Please join us, and of course, hit us and like, talk to us in the comments. We will appreciate everyone there. Make sure to be with you, and we'll see you tonight.